Because like normally they say something like a closer look, or like, zoomed in. And it's just like, you know you're getting yourself into an analysis. But this, beyond incredible.
But it's really not. I mean, this is a little bit of analysis, but this is, we can talk about it in a fun way. We can talk about it in a fun way. So,
as us Americans say, shooting the shit.
wait, I think a little bit. A little bit. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be like Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall.
I don't know who the other guy is, but
it'll be like
I don't know a lot of stars.
Will Ferrell and Step Brothers.
Okay. Yeah.
Do I start off saying this as well?
No. I was just doing this good stuff.
You're like Men in Black. Forget the real naked jokes.
Oh, you're saying lock? You want a match today? You got it. First one. Someone played with you?
Forget.
You never played with me. Just go out there. In the middle of the match.
That's what will never happen.
Continue. The show must go on.
I've seen some people get split up. And some people whispering. When they get split up, they just accept it. They just accept it.
What? They don't even understand why you would do that.
What, except being split up?
You just accept any kind of just.
That's what.
It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some.
It's only an hour.
Yes, it's going to go about fast.
Not bad.
It's going to go by real fast.
Not bad. You plan to have Epic on me? Right? Wrong.
Sorry?
You plan to also have Epic on?
Yeah, when the time's right. But it's probably going to be months from now because it's only every 2 weeks. So anytime they enter an international event, I make sure to grab one of the international guys, right? So that takes up. It'll probably, if we can find the time that works for him before the end of the year, it'll be good.
I think if you're looking for...
All right, we're about to start. Okay. Sorry, what were you saying?
If you doing some boxers, I have one for you.
Oh, that'd be great. I need another striker for 2 weeks from now, if you don't mind. There's 3 cameras. There's your camera, a blue camera, and my camera. Do I look at it or just like talking to it? You can look right at it.
Joe, what?
And we're back. Welcome to episode 8 of Beyond the Fight. God's Martial Arts, an innovative MMA promotion that truly celebrates traditions, ancient martial arts traditions, while treating fighters as celebrities. Today we have a special guest, a real figure here in Muay Thai in Vietnam, Zahir Eaton. He's the current coach at K1 in Thao Dien under FX, and here to share some stories and give us some perspective on Muay Thai here in Vietnam. Zahir, it's an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you for
How do you feel today?
I feel good, man. It's like sunny out. It's sunny out today. First time in the GMA facility, and I must say it's really cool. Reminds me of like the movie Kickboxer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the underground fight to the death kind of thing, especially with the ropes and the ring and stuff. But overall, it's sick. I was kicking on the bags over here. I see you guys also have like a bag much lower for low kick. That's pretty cool because you only see that really like, I've only ever seen it in Thailand. For like a bag specifically for working like low kick and like low teeps and stuff. So I see the diversity. The place looks amazing. So I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's an incredible facility we have here at Liam Farm at GMA headquarters. These guys train hard.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell because no bag here looks untouched. Every bag has a scuffle or mark that's been from rigorous work on. So
yeah,
no,
for sure. And they have this bamboo, and they do the kicks after practice, when they get promoted to the next level, they have their own system here. It's incredible. And
they kick this, huh?
Oh yeah, and then they kick it, and you can hear it. You can hear it. But these guys are tough, and if certain things don't happen, they have to kick it a certain amount of times. I kicked it one time after practice, just.
Skillo and it's how bad did it hurt?
But it's to toughen up your shin bones.
Yeah. So you probably like create like microfractures. This is like, I know in Thailand they'll do the same thing. They'll kick like banana trees, and then in karate they will also like maybe kick a tire. I think it's called a makiwara. I'm maybe not pronouncing it so well, but yeah. So when it comes to striking, especially when you're using kicks, your shins are like your bread and butter. You have to condition them. Either kicking low in the bag, kicking something hard like this.
Yep.
Have to, because if not, it's very, very cut and dry on success or injury. Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that. How important are your shins, and how much pain they can take in martial arts?
They're quite important in terms of blocking. Also, when it comes to landing a kick. So when you block, right, essentially you want to block from the top of your knee to like this area.
Okay.
If you can block here, normally it will maybe hurt you a little bit, but it's going to hurt them just as much as it's supposed to hurt you.
Okay.
If you block anywhere lower than here, it will hurt you. You can block it, it won't score, and you can also block on the sides here. So it's used for blocking, and then you also need it to land your kicks, because from here to here, you want to land your kicks.
That's interesting. One of the things the lean foam guys were telling me, you need to be able to endure pain.
Yes.
So that when you're in a fight, you don't freak out or anything like that. And that's why they do the kicks on this bamboo thing. And I'm thinking, man, I'm so late in the game. How many years does it take to develop your shins for like a competitive Muay Thai or Kung Kamai?
That's a tough question. Okay, so to be fair with you, when you fight, I don't know if it's just me, but I've heard the same story. But when you're fighting without the shin pads, that's when you get your wings on.
Okay.
There's so much adrenaline happening that when you're throwing the kicks and blocking, you don't really feel it. However, right after the fight, that's when the adrenaline kind of wears off and the pain on your shins is insane.
Oh, okay.
So you're constantly conditioning. You never really count how long or anything like that. But you're constantly conditioning your shins from the moment you step on the mat to when you finish. From running to hitting the bag, hitting the pads, always you are conditioning your shins. It's a must. It's a must.
Yeah. And so you yourself, you conditioning your shins throughout your Muay Thai career,
For sure, yeah.
How are your shins different now than they were 10 years ago?
They're like really bumpy now. I would say So if you look at my shins, they just go like this. It's not like a straight line or anything, but things like shin splints I don't have to worry about so much. And when it comes to like, maybe if I throw a kick and someone doesn't have a shin pad, like I'm just trying to demonstrate and accidentally hit an elbow, it doesn't really hurt so much. Maybe before when I first started, I hit my shin like on a table and I'm on the ground and like, it really hurt. Now, if I hit this table or hit something, it doesn't hurt so much. It's cool.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, so you definitely have a very interesting story you'd like to dive in today. Just like to touch on a little bit about, you came from the United States and you were working for Apple.
Yes, sir.
Some years ago.
Yeah.
And for some reason you got an interest in Muay Thai and martial arts. And for that reason you're here in Southeast Asia. Can you take us through that decision process and your move here and everything? Sure,
yeah. So, starting out when I was younger, I'd always been around martial arts. and grew up watching it. It was just, I was working for Apple, I was doing computer science, and I just felt like I didn't have real like inner strength or self-confidence, you know.
Yeah.
I wanted to have that feeling that I saw when I saw people in the ring fighting, and it looks like total chaos, but they're calm in their face and have a good attitude. I just wanted to know like what it felt like to step in the ring and feel that.
And the first time you watched this, where was this?
First time I was watching K1 Japan, I was watching a fight of Boakao versus, I think, Masato. It's like a championship fight or something. I was just looking up on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, but I saw that and then just see like, after he had to do all 3 rounds, had to go one more round, a draw round, and still won. Just the look of pride and strength was, I just wanted to know that feeling, you know.
Okay.
And then after that, I joined a boxing gym in Cuba.
In Cuba?
Yeah, so I was at this
What?
time. Yeah, so I just came back from Vietnam. My
Wow.
best friend. Yeah, I was 19 at the time. Oh, I'm sorry, 18, and my best friend had taken me around Vietnam. His name is Wesley. After that, I just knew I wanted to travel, and I knew I wanted to learn a martial art. So I was like, oh, you know what? Cuba's open. No one's really been there, and I just found out that Cuba was known for their boxing. So I just like joined the boxing gym for about a month. I paid with my hair clippers.
Really?
Yeah. And so then after that, I came back and I was working at Apple. And I was sitting at home and I just thought to myself, this was right after probably a year time frame I was training and stuff. This was like during COVID, you know.
Okay.
And so I think to myself, okay, the country's like finally open up. Other countries are starting to let people in. What do I want to do with my life? And I think to myself, well, I don't know about like in the future, but right now, the only thing that makes me feel whole is doing Muay Thai.
Okay.
Like, you know, when I first started, I just told myself I want to learn to have confidence, defend myself. Then I took my first fight just to know if what I was doing was legit. I lost.
Yeah.
And did it again, and then
Yeah.
kept going and going.
Yeah.
So
well, let's back up a little bit. Cuba. I wasn't aware of this.
Yeah.
What was it like there? What's the scene like? What are the locals like? What's it like training with those guys?
Cuba is like, you know, because the country was closed off for so long after the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yep.
It's like going back into the 40s and 50s. You know, they drive all those old cars. Not everywhere has Wi-Fi. It's like one spot in some ward that will have Wi-Fi that you have to go to. So it's really like a blast from the past. When you speak with people, they really use their word to like hold for their accountability. If I want to hang out with you, for example, today's Sunday, I would say, hey, Zach, meet me here on Wednesday at 3 p.m. And that's how you have to, that's how you have to host it. Yeah. So
that is incredible.
yeah, it was really cool. Kind of living like that because I was kind of away from the world with no Wi-Fi, and I kind of just got to really focus in on like me, inner peace, and then like finding myself a little bit. So yeah, it kind of started from there. But Cuba's,
And they're pretty good in terms of the martial arts.
they're very good at boxing and they're very good at wrestling. These are the two
Yeah.
things that they're very big for. So I'm sure you know like Yoel Romero. I think he's 2-time Olympic wrestling gold. Huh?
They're good at wrestling.
Yeah, very
They're
good at
really
wrestling.
good.
You got a few boxers, Luis Ortiz, Regal now, also a very good boxer. So they have good sports in these two, but unfortunately they're only able to compete at the amateur level, like in the Olympics and stuff. So you only really hear about these guys usually in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Aside from that, they're just doing it, hoping to like try to get a sponsor from like the U.S. to go pro.
Okay.
But it's their passion. It's their passion.
And daily training with them, what was that like?
Very old school training, you know. I feel like nowadays you have like HIIT training. So it's usually something that's, your attention span is on it for not so much of time. Whereas back in the day, old school training was like, okay, you train on the bag for 5 rounds,
Yep.
5 minutes each round. Skip rope for I don't know how long, running junk miles. That old, boring, tough, rigorous, make sure headstrong training, that's what they do there. So like boxing is like very embedded within those who do it, you know. Like it comes from like, you can see how they walk around the room. They walk with such confidence and strength.
That's fantastic. And did you You know, was that really when you found your passion for martial arts? Was it in Cuba?
No, I would say I found my passion after my first fight. I was training in Athens, Georgia, and my first coach, Jakar, he just told me one day I show up to the gym, said there was a fight. I was like, oh, I want to do it. I show up to the fight, and I lose. First round, knockout, knee to the eye.
What?
Yeah. But after this, when I went home and stuff, I just like couldn't shake the feeling. I was like, even though the fight lasted so short, I had so much fun. And I was like, okay, I want to do it again, but this time I want to win, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I think it was me losing that first fight that motivated me to just train so hard.
Yeah.
That the second fight helped me to understand preparedness.
Yep.
And that satisfying feeling when you train hard, work hard,
Yes.
and step in the ring, and then you do well and you get the result that you wanted, you know?
Yes.
You know, I did sports all my life, but fighting was the only one that made me feel like just like very proud of myself, you know, and very, very happy, very happy.
That's amazing. It's amazing how a loss will have such an impact on your life, you know?
Yeah. You know, you really have to know how to move past it. One of my old bosses and mentors, Aurelian, he said, you know, when you win, you know, it feels good and you remember it for maybe a day, maybe a week. But when you lose, it feels like you remember it for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know about this as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, especially for you growing up, I know for you grappling and wrestling, this is like kind of at the height because right before you were in university and stuff, that's when Russia and USA was in the Olympics competing against each other as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's always,
Yeah.
if you want to win the Olympics, you're going to have to beat a Russian guy in wrestling. I mean, they are the best.
You really are.
They are the best. If you look at like the number of gold medals, or the number of Olympic medals by country, number one is Russia, number two is Soviet Union, you know.
Oh, wow.
And it's not even a country, it hasn't been a country since 91, early 90s.
What gives them the edge? Is it like specifically, is it all of Russia or is it like really specifically like the Dagestani guys? What gives like their style of wrestling the edge over, let's say, like USA or freestyle Greco-Roman? What gives them the edge?
I think that's a great question.
Like,
I think it's a couple of things. Number one, I think it's their mindset. They have a mindset, and you see this in Raphael. Like, they refuse to give up position. Win or die.
Yeah.
I've seen Raphael say this, and you can see it come out of him.
Yeah.
You know, win or die. You know, and it comes from Dagestan specifically, and I think so. That's one part of it, and it's ingrained into them. And they are tough. They're super tough and unforgiving. And if you get through the training in Russia, you're going to be tough. And I think another part of it, Z, is so ingrained into their culture. You know, like at a very young age,
Yeah.
everyone watches wrestling. You're expected to. Like, you know, in America, we play baseball, basketball.
Yeah.
Why did you play baseball? Why did you play basketball? Well, everybody did.
That's true.
You know
That's
what I mean?
very true.
But pretty much whether you want to or not, it's kind of like that in Russia.
Okay.
For wrestling, so then, you know, they produce a lot, and even the president of Russia, they'll go to.
Wow. I mean, you know,
they'll go to the local wrestling matches
events and stuff.
Yeah,
That's beautiful. That's nice. I would say, it's probably the same to like how it is training in Thailand. Like, I had a friend who went to Thailand before me, and I asked them what they liked about Muay Thai in Thailand, and they said that in Thailand, Muay Thai is not a sport; it's a culture.
Yep.
And I really got to understand that when I went, like, from little age on up. I mean, they're fighting at 6 years old, no shin pads, just gloves, you know, and they're getting paid to fight, you know. And they're doing the traditions from such a young age all the way up to you see people fighting in their 60s, you know,
Yeah.
70s, and it's all accept it with love and seriousness and legitimacy, you know. And the way they train is, again, that old school, rigorous kind of training. Like, no, there's no distractions here. You're going to run 10K or you're going to run 15K. We're going to follow behind you.
Yeah.
And make sure that you run a good distance on it. And make sure you push yourself. I would say it was probably what you see in Russia with wrestling.
Yeah.
But the way they train is like, that's how they say, become a man. You train to really, really.
And you can see that in Rafael.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's one of the best wrestlers I've ever come across in my life.
He's strong.
And he represents that. I haven't been to Russia myself. I haven't experienced the culture like you've experienced in Thailand that we'll get into. But yeah, the Russians are tough, super tough. But it was interesting. It's interesting, like when Dan Gable went and didn't get scored on in the 1972 Olympics. The Russians, couldn't believe it. Like, how is someone this good? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just one of our stars. They're one of the American stars, and there's so many Russian wrestlers that we don't even know the names of who were great.
That's true.
In the sport.
I remember you showed me Dan Gable ages ago. What did he go? Penn State or was it Oklahoma? What did he go?
It was Iowa.
Iowa.
He wrestled for Iowa State. Went to the Olympics. No one scored on him. Came back and coached for Iowa. And then, just to put things in perspective, Alabama football has like 6 national championships. Duke basketball maybe 5, 6. Dan Gable, the Iowa Hawkeyes wrestling Division I, under Dan Gable alone has 15 national championships.
Jeez.
Alone.
That's like Tiger Woods in the Masters. No one's got one.
He coached for 21 seasons. 15 of them, he won the national championships. All 21, he won the Big Ten.
Wow.
All 21.
What an impressive record.
Yeah. So let's get back to your decision on moving to Vietnam. What was that like to leave such a secure job and a job that a lot of people would?
So yeah, from Apple, I sold everything and stuff, and originally I went to Thailand. I just wanted to say that in my 20s I did Muay Thai and trained and fought. I just thought it would be cool to look back and like tell my kids that, or to be that cool uncle that has these stories. That was really it. But when I went there, I saw people my world went upside down. It was completely switched. I left from the USA, where it's fast, internet everywhere, everyone's distracting themselves with something to stress themselves out with, to going to Thailand and everyone having more of a sabai approach to things, taking things one at a time and making sure that things are done with a proper understanding and ease. And I mean ease like with confidence, not ease as in lazy. And I saw people eat, breathe, and live Muay Thai. Same like me, that had traveled from across the globe, and you could just tell they're just absolutely obsessed with Muay Thai. Same like me. So it was like the best community to be around. I met some really cool guys, especially this guy Adam Chatilom and Ayrton. I trained at Sichopo. Met some really cool people, and overall, I had so much fun. I didn't even realize I ran out of money. Right. So this is when I came to Vietnam.
So you were in Thailand for how long were you in Thailand? Like, where did you train? Who were some of the notable coaches that you trained with?
So for the first few months, I was at Sichapo Muay Thai gym. I think like around about 6 months.
Okay.
The main coach there is Crew F and Crew O. Although Crew O, they're twins. Although Crew O lives in Sweden, so Crew F usually runs it. It's in Hua Hin, Thailand, about 4 hours south of Bangkok. So that's the main coach. My trainer was Crew Hinfet. And then there's another trainer called Crew King. There is another one, Pet Mai. And then there's Pet Dam and Dam also. So all these guys, when you get there, they're all calm. Every Thai person is very calm, peaceful, respectful. But don't let that smile fool you. They're very, very strong. And what I noticed that's very different in Thailand is their timing and rhythm is so good. The cues that they have and their reaction timing. They believe that timing beats speed and precision beats power. And
Wow.
you can really see it when you watch them fight, but also when you look at the pads. The pad style compared to, like, let's say boxing or kickboxing was completely different, you know.
Interesting.
Coming from USA, you're used to jab cross, slip, 2-3-2 or something like this. Whereas in Thailand, they don't say a word. They just here with you, hold the hand up.
Really?
Yeah, and you just have to kind of adapt and go along with it. So it teaches you to move at their tempo, but it also teaches you to move in more of a real time and focus on that timing. So having to adjust your breathing and adjust your moving and tempo to
Yeah.
the pad style.
It's interesting, and it kind of reminds me, in my limited experience in grappling, you know, when you first start grappling, they say, learn slow, you know, go slow, and you learn fast.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Is that like that? Is it similar in Muay Thai?
For sure. I would say that the biggest thing in Muay Thai is that less is more, you know, especially
Okay.
when you're looking at a fight. If someone has to do, let's say, 8 different moves just to land one versus one person who does 2 moves to land one,
Okay.
I think in the exchange, the person that does less work but still gets the same result is going to be on the upper hand. Also, though, they're very big when it comes to, how do you say, like, the confidence behind the technique as well, right? So they're not going to, when they do a technique, they're not going to do it unless they know 100% how it's supposed to go, how to defend it,
Okay.
how to do it maneuvering, and how to counter or have something up to sleep after that.
Okay.
So, like, you'll see Muay Thai techniques or combos, it'll be maybe 3 or 4 strikes.
Yep.
And it seems like, it's so easy, but what makes it so difficult is the comfortability in movement. So they say, what I was told is the 2 most important things in Muay Thai is breathing, how to breathe, and how to stand. So that simplicity, I would say, translates there.
How to breathe and how to stand.
Yeah,
In terms of
yeah.
balance.
In terms of balance, but also in terms of just how you stand. Like, your shoulders should be in line with your knees for most people.
Okay.
Some people stand narrow, like they're waiting for the bus. Some people stand wide for more punching. But you should always be able to stand confident and move because you want to, not because you have to. You know, because they say
Interesting.
the person that moves the most knows the least.
The person that moves the most.
The person that moves the most knows the least.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
That's what that's the rule I always was told, Brian.
That's why I move so much when I do striking sports.
But you don't move much in grappling. You take your time, right?
And it took time to get there,
Exactly.
to get to that point. So, but yeah. Okay, so you're in Thailand.
Yes. So I was
you're in
at,
Thailand, and then continue the story.
yeah, I was just at Suchapo training every day. No fights at that time, but just training a lot. I did one fight, and I had ran out of money. Now, my best friend was living in Vietnam, the one that I came when I was 19 to visit. And he bought me a ticket out here. I was living in District 7, not too far away from here. And at the time, I wasn't able to really find too much work. I had some friends in Thailand that told me about a gym in Phuket. And they said, yeah, there's a few gyms there that sponsor and stuff. Maybe you can go there and just ask them. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know. It was my only bet. I really didn't want to go back to America because at this time I felt like if I go back now, it's like I go back like failing. Like I was supposed to come back a different person or stronger, or I've learned the skill, or I've learned something, you know. So
Yeah.
I went to Phuket and I went to this gym in Bang Tao called Balance Muay Thai.
Yes.
The owner's name is Adam. Yeah, I show up there. I told him, I spoke to him very briefly on Instagram, but I told him, hey man, I have like no money and I don't want to go back to America. But you know, I fight and I've been doing this for some time. And so Adam said, okay, yeah, you can stay here. We'll sponsor you.
Wow.
When we say train, you train. And when we say fight, you fight. And yeah, at the end of that day, I had a fight 2 days. I had a fight scheduled 2 days after. I did the first training and I went in my room. And Adam and this coach Kruwitaya knocked on my door and said, hey Z, how are you feeling? I said, I'm feeling good. Training was good. And they said, okay, you fight in 2 days. I said, okay. When I closed the door, my heart sank. I was like, oh my God, 2-day fight. And then I thought to myself, well, you signed up for this. You can't back out now. You don't know anyone out here.
So when they first said you train we tell you to train and you fight when we tell you to fight. What was it when they first said that? How did you feel?
I felt good.
Did it really hit? Did it really hit you? Or
yeah, it didn't feel like I was like forced or anything. It more so the way I would say it is for a Nak Muay, which is a Thai boxer in Thailand. It's viewed as like a job. You know, it's like it's your 9 to 5. You know.
Okay.
So we train until you train. That's your shift for clocking in. You know, and same for the fighting. You have your off days, like usually a Sunday, but aside from that, your whole life is dedicated around your training. You know, and in Thailand, it feels very good because it's very manageable because you also have a culture that understands this lifestyle.
Okay.
So there's not so many obstacles to get in the way. You know,
Okay.
I'd wake up, I'd train. After that, I'd get some food, go in my room, rest, and then wake up in the afternoon, train again, get some food, rest. And it was just that life every single day.
Yep.
And then on the weekends, you'd have like a fight.
yeah. So how'd you do in the first fight?
The first fight, I won that fight in Phuket, I won the first round knockout. But my coaches were mad. In America, you know, it's like when the fight starts, you just go. However, in Thailand, when it's 5-round fight, the scoring in Thailand is very different than anywhere else. And that's because there's like a betting aspect in it and also a feel-out round, right?
Okay.
So the first 2 rounds is for the 2 fighters. They're feeling each other out, trying to get a good reading. But it's also for the bettors to figure out who they're going to bet on, right?
Okay. So yeah, let's take a look at this. This is something I wasn't really aware of, and many of our viewers. So, you know, in America, we're trying to knock people out as fast as possible, right? And especially the whole MMA, and because of UFC, that's what we look to. So what you're saying is, in Muay Thai, it's not really like that.
No, not really, no, because, I mean, you'll have some people do that, but usually it's frowned upon, right? Like, people come to see a fight, right? So they want to see the first 2 rounds kind of be slow, the 3rd round start to pick up, the 4th round kind of be that pushing round, both sides are trying to push to win.
Yeah.
And then the 5th round usually being either A, one side is won, and then the other side is like trying to knock them out for the win, or B, they both understood who won and they kind of try to cruise it out. But the main thing is that when you are fighting in Muay Thai, the scoring should be about not how you start, but how you finish.
Okay.
Right. So it's the same, like when they first see you, they'll bet maybe on one corner the first round. 2nd round, they'll change to the other side.
So they're betting on per round or the overall ending of the fight?
You have, I would say, I may be wrong, but from the 1st to the 3rd round, you have to bet. You can switch from one side to the other side. When you switch, obviously, it's raised higher. But based off the first 3 rounds, you kind of choose who do you think is going to win. Right?
Okay.
Once this 3rd round is there, that's when it's like they have 2 fighters have enough good reading of each other. That's when the full weapons will come out. No?
Oh, man.
Yeah, so the first 2 rounds are usually boring. And my first fight, I didn't really know. I mean, I knew that, but I had so much adrenaline. I was so scared, even though I fought in America, that the first round, I just, bam, hit. You know, I was going, and I ended up, knocking the guy out. And so my coach was angry.
The first one in Thailand?
Yeah. Well, it was my 2nd fight in Thailand. My first fight was in the countryside in Phetchaburi.
Okay.
But this fight was, again, 2 days notice, so it was much bigger of a deal. And like this big stadium. And I knocked the guy out, and I'm like, I feel good. And my coach is angry with me. He's like, why did you knock him out first round? You're supposed to carry the rounds. Like, he said, you look scared. And that's how it is usually. It's either A, seen as disrespect, or B, you seem scared. You seem so scared of this guy and what he may have up his sleeve that you just want to pull the plug early and kill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So were you a bit confused when he wasn't happy with you knocking him out?
No, I understood, because like at the end of the day, it's not about the win or the loss. It's about what knowledge you gain from it, right? And like you go in and knock someone out. It's okay. It's a 40-second fight, 40-second paycheck, but you don't really learn much from it, you know.
Okay, I see. I understand that. Yeah.
See, because in Thailand, Muay Thai, when I say it's a culture and a passion, it's like you'll fight someone that's better than you.
Yep.
That will kind of like not play with you, but they'll fight with you and keep it just hard enough of a fight that you get to the last round, just so it helps you grow.
Okay.
You know, they won't just be like, oh, I'm better than this guy, let me just end it very quickly.
Okay.
They'll be like, okay, this guy, maybe I'm better than him, but I like his heart, right? I like how calm he is. He's still trying. So I will fight with him for the fun of it. And hopefully in the next fight, I will see him again.
Interesting.
This code is like very big and like very traditional Muay Thai. However, I would say nowadays with the changing of the gloves, with Muay Thai becoming more global, that's starting to slowly shift.
What does tell us about the changing of the gloves?
So now, before, way back in the day, you had something called karchuk.
Yep.
And they would use, this was like ropes, right? So they would get like regular rope and they would wrap it around the hands. This is because back in the day, during like the Kingdom of Siam and Kingdom of Cambodia and Kingdom of Myanmar, these moves and this way of fighting, Muay Thai, Kung Kamai, and like left way, was a way of fighting in war. All right. So these moves all come from it's combat from war, from like ancient times. That's really all it is. And before it was called like Muay Boran or Muay Chaya. And over time it became this sport called Muay Thai. So you had karchuk, this big rope, and then after that you had the standard gloves, like 12 ounce. But now, like with one championship, they have like 3 ounce gloves and 5 ounce gloves, so like the MMA gloves. And with this aspect, it makes punching much more of a crucial weapon. And it kind of takes away certain aspects of Muay Thai that make it Muay Thai. So for example, what I mean is like clinching, or like let's say elbows. You don't see that like that timing and that that's how you say, like IQ, certain IQ moves that you would see in like let's say the golden era of Muay Thai.
I see.
Yeah. So like let's say you watch one championship, you watch a fight on one championship versus if you watch a fight, let's say on Lumpini, LWC, Super Champ, or like RWS, the way the fights go, even if it's a 3-round fight, is completely different.
Wow.
Like Muay Thai in Thailand, when you watch the fight, Channel 7, they're going to be here, they're going to be taking their time. They're going to be throwing, but they're going to be trying to outsmart each other usually.
Yeah.
And one championship, when the first round starts, bam, bam, they're throwing like crazy. They're throwing hard shots, and they're trying to make a strong impression that first round.
Understand. That's interesting. You've mentioned Lethway, and you've mentioned Kun Kamai. And Kun Kamai it's similar to Muay Thai, is that correct?
I won't say that because there's actually a strong rivalry between the two.
Okay.
But I would say they are quite similar.
More similar than Muay Thai and Lethway.
No, actually, they're all quite similar. The real difference is like they all do like the white crew. It's not all called white crew, but they all do the white crew. They all have like this kind of slow but very brutal tempo. They all have it because all these countries at one time were fighting each other in ancient wars, right?
Yeah.
The big difference is in Muay Thai, the thing that's going to score the most is the kick and the knees, right? And then after that, elbows, and then the punches.
Yeah.
Whereas in Kung Kamai, what scores the most is going to be the elbows. So in Muay Thai, where you see the first round, they're throwing kicks, and they will probably throw the elbow 3rd or 4th round. In Kung Kamai, first round, they will throw elbow. They will not play with you first round. It's much more brutal in Cambodia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So whereas I say in Muay Thai, where it's still brutal, the difference is much smarter, sneakier, or like more fakes, feints, more setups and things like this. Whereas in Cambodia, the way they fight is much more, I would say more ancient, more brutal, like this is war, right?
Wow.
When they're standing and they're ready, and they boom, go elbow, it's like, you better not be caught slipping. And if you are, you better not be on the other end of that elbow, because it's going to hurt. You won't see Thais throw elbow. I mean, usually Thais will not throw elbows until like later on, 3rd, 4th round. Like if you piss them off enough, or if they need to win, then they will bam, throw the elbow. But normally they won't really throw the elbow too much. Right?
Yeah, interesting.
And then lastly, Lethway. This is the one that is, I would say, the most brutal. Right? So I would say with sports, as they get more brutal, then the technicalities and the form and stuff looks less refined. So in Lethway, you have the punches, the kicks, the knees, and the elbows, just like Kung Kamai and Muay Thai. but in left way you also have headbutts. And the only way you can win is by knockout. So there's no points, unlike Muay Thai and Kung Kamai. In left way, you can fight, get knocked out, and they have 2 minutes to revive you. They'll bite your ear, put water on you. I mean, smack you, whatever they can do to wake you up to go back fighting.
Because it won't count as a knockout.
Exactly. But again, you have 2 minutes. And so then after that, yeah, you'll see them fighting in the headbutt, and they'll do it in the clinch, they'll elbow hard. And the biggest difference is that in left way always, it's bare knuckle. Muay Thai is not bare knuckle. Kung Kamai is not bare knuckle. At most, they do the ropes, the karchu.
Wow, that's interesting.
Sorry, yeah.
That is interesting. But the gloves are they the same in Kung Kamai and Muay Thai?
Yeah, same gloves and stuff. Okay. Just rhythm, different weapon selection, or like different strategy.
Yeah.
Where in Kung Kamai they will be having their hands up quite high like this.
Okay.
To block for the elbows and to throw the elbows. And Muay Thai, maybe their hands instead will be here. Right? So when it's like this with the hips forward, then they're able to block for the kicks a lot easier. Move back, and when they punch, it's going to be much more for straights. They can't really throw for hooks. Kung Kamai, they're going to more so be here. Right? So when your hands are like this, kind of bladed, then you can turn over for hooks, uppercuts.
Now that's interesting. Now in our last here in God's Martial Arts MMA promotion, it's really interesting because we're seeing all of these ancient martial arts come together on one stage in an MMA stage, mixed martial arts.
Yes.
So it's interesting to see how people use Kung Kamai, how they use grappling, how they use Muay Thai or boxing in an MMA fight where you pretty much can do anything.
Yeah.
Right? And I was quite impressed with the Kung Kamai fighters coming out of Cambodia.
Yeah.
And they're really good. They're quick with those elbows. And some of these guys, some of them have done very well in MMA. The Kung Kamai guys, from what I've seen, they really they like to hold on to their traditions. They love to hold on to their tradition, and some of them do better than others when it comes to integrating, to adapting, to translating that into MMA success. What do you think? What's your view on Muay Thai and Kung Kamai and these ancient martial arts when they come into a stage such as Gods of Martial Arts or ONE FC or UFC? Like, what is that transition like?
I mean, I think the transition in terms of the striking and timing is 100% what you need. Someone you can look at for this is like Khalil Roundtree. He's in the UFC. He has a very strong grappling and Muay Thai background. And so he will stand kind of like in a Muay Thai stance, but a bit wider to avoid the wrestling takedown and stuff. And he does quite phenomenal. He's brutal when he needs to be, but he's also smart and can recover from like takedowns and recover from attacks and stuff when he needs to. However, fully integrating is going to be a bit difficult because like in Thailand and in Cambodia, again, like I said, this is a culture from like thousands of years ago. Right? So to them, it's much more of an honor to fight in their big stadiums in their country, fighting for their country. There's more honor and valor in that rather than mixing into MMA or Gods of Martial Arts. However, if they can see, I would say, the bigger opportunity, which is spreading their country's heritage, spreading that and publicizing that and putting it on a good display. If they can see that side of it, I think that it will definitely be talked about more because, like you said, in Cambodia, they elbow very, very well. And then when it comes to Muay Thai, the Thai guys also, their clinching is very, very good as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the clinch is really, I may have learned this from you, training with you at K1, doing some Muay Thai, is the clinch is kind of like the crossroads between the grappling martial arts and the striking martial arts.
100%.
And that's when I really started to get more interested in Muay Thai and felt more comfortable with it. But with your clinch is so good that you're so good at the clinch that you've adopted some inherent grappling techniques and wrestling defenses and things like that. What is the value of the Muay Thai clinch in MMA?
So, well, first I'll say my clinch is okay. There are some people that can clinch also a little bit better than me, maybe.
Yeah.
And no. In Muay Thai, clinching is 75% of the game. 75 clinching makes up 75% of Muay Thai, and like you said, it is like that bridge. It's stand-up grappling, right?
Yeah.
You can have these kind of holds and positionings, but also you can sweep, you can dump, you can throw, right? As long as it's not a judo throw, you can do this. And even back in the day, you had something called ancient rules.
Okay.
And this is when they fight with the ropes. You can choke someone else standing up.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day, the clinching like this, you can choke someone else standing up. This guy's out. It's okay.
Wow.
But that's what you need. And I feel like that is the one bridge also between Muay Thai fully integrating into Vietnam, actually. Right?
Okay.
Because mostly the background here is going to be like Vô Việt Nam or like karate or kickboxing. So it's very dynamic, very in and out, fast paced. The kicks are very strong here. Like people here, they can kick really strong, really fast. And the punching, the speed is like, at first it's a lot to get used to. Right? You got punches and kicks coming from everywhere. But even with that being said, there's not much of a clinching scene in Vietnam now.
Okay.
And I feel like this is the one thing that you need, because it doesn't matter how hard someone throws or how fast. If you have good clinching, you can just grab them,
Okay.
put hands on them, and just completely stop their tempo and set your own pace. And you change the whole game. I'm sure you understand. It's like 100% of fights start out standing up. 95% of the fights go to the ground, right?
Yeah.
And if you know grappling and you go to the ground, it's like this is your time to like shine. And for the other person, being there on the ground and someone has a group of you and they know what they're doing, you're like, oh, I can't do anything. I'm screwed, right? You feel feeble. You feel like there's nothing you can do.
Feeble.
Right?
Yeah. That is interesting that like the Muay Thai clinch and then the trips.
The sweep song.
Tell us a little bit about the sweeps, because that's similar to wrestling. You definitely see this from the Russians. Raphael is very good at the sweeps.
I've
right?
seen. Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about the sweeps.
So you have some sweeps that will mostly be like kind of like a counter. So maybe someone is trying to knee with you. If they're trying to knee with you, let's say they're trying to knee with a knee from this way. Then with this foot, you can sweep that other leg as they're trying to use all that momentum to throw the knee. So you can use it to sweep this way. If their balance is off or their stance is off, right? Maybe you have one hand on the inside of their arm and one hand on their neck. You can pull down, right, and pull to the side of you with your foot out, and they can kind of trip over it, right? This is another way to sweep as well. Sweeping doesn't really score. It depends on how it scores. Sometimes it scores, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on the situation of the fight. Okay. But what sweeps do is they kind of reset the fight and they kind of knock the confidence out of the other guy, right? It's pretty embarrassing if you're about to knee someone and you just, as soon as you see your knee about to land into them, your whole camera, your whole eyesight just goes sideways and you're on the ground all of a sudden, So I would say that the sweeps are, okay, it's good to have, but I would say the most important thing to have is to have a good base. That's probably the biggest thing in clinching. Have a good base, and again, have calm breathing, right? And take your time. It's the best thing to do is to find good positioning. Okay. Find a position that you're really good at. Find a clinching hold that you're really good at. This is what my friend Jesse told me. He's coach at Primo right now. Is find a position that you're really good at. And then figure out all the ways to defend that position, and then figure out all the ways to get back to that position. That's something also I learned also at Citrapo, and I think that's something you use in wrestling as well, right?
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, you just keep to simplify. To simplify it.
Yeah.
And once you understand that, then you can kind of deal with most things.
Yeah.
Because you get back to that place where
that home base.
Yeah, your home base.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So here's a question for you.
Yes.
So, like a straight Muay Thai fighter who's really good at the clinch and everything that Muay Thai offers, right? And then this guy goes and fights professional MMA.
Professional MMA.
Yeah. What are some of the the unique things that he's bringing to MMA as a Muay Thai fighter, and how would he need to adapt to translate his Muay Thai experience into MMA success?
I'd say what he's bringing to the table, strong kicks, like very. So you have two kind of kicks, right? You have kicks that maybe come from a chamber, and they will hit to smack. Normally, this kind of kick is like it will hurt, but you have to keep doing it in order for that pain to really build up. Versus the Muay Thai low kick is going to be throwing your whole body into it to like kick through. This would be one thing he's bringing, and then also the knowledge, timing, and comfortability with elbows.
Okay.
Right? Being here and being able to grab their wrist and boom, elbow in. Elbows change the pace of a fight like instantly.
Yeah.
1 second, the fight is going one way. And next thing you know, when they elbow, face cut open, okay, now the fight's going a completely different way. You were just winning. Now you have a huge cut on your face. You may have to have a doctor stoppage or something like that. We don't want that. So that would be what he's bringing for sure. However, he would have to really change his stance.
Yeah.
Most times Muay Thai fighters stand very narrow. This invites for a double leg or single leg takedown.
Okay.
And would have to get used to not kicking so much. Most times you kick in Muay Thai and they catch it, you kind of have this guard where you're bouncing on one foot or you're trying to pull your leg out. If this is MMA, that kick gets caught. It's game over. And I've seen some guys catch a head kick, like get kicked in the head, catch it, and still take the guy down. So I would say kicking from like the stomach on up would have to be very, very calculated, not just throwing it to like set a pace or set a tempo or establish a distance.
Okay. Interesting. It seems just sparring with you and some of the we did a little bit of MMA sparring, a little bit of grappling, things like that. It seems like you were very prepared in going to MMA because of your understanding and how comfortable you are in the clinch. And I feel like that kind of opens the doors for the grappling aspect of MMA. And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, to be honest with you, so after the boxing, I actually went into MMA first.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that explains a little bit.
Yeah. I went to MMA. I had this friend. His name is Chris Barnett. He fights in like UFC now. They call him Beast Boys, like break dances and stuff. But I used to train with him at his place, and just do MMA. And there was a promotion called NFC, so I fought for them like a few times and stuff. So I started off with MMA at first. And then I moved to Muay Thai just because I like the tempo, the pacing, and just like the style of it. But yeah, you're right. When it comes to the grappling with you and doing MMA fighting with you, yeah, I can't just do like the whole Muay Thai thing. Because again, my legs invite for a takedown. And I've wrestled with you before. You're quite strong and you know what you're doing. So I have to be quite careful.
Yeah.
The grappling part of it, I have takedown defense. But once I get on that ground, it's pretty easy. I don't know, maybe I hide it well, but I'm sure some people can smell when they're with a grappler and when they're not with a grappler,
So how many MMA fights did you have?
Oh, just 3. Not many.
Yeah.
It was okay.
So you did some MMA, and then now you've got a lot of experience in Muay Thai. If you were to go back into MMA, how would your approach be different now that with your Muay Thai experience?
I'd say my timing would be better. My breathing overall would be better. Being able to pace myself, being able to read things. But MMA is a different ballgame. Because whereas in Muay Thai, you start off kind of slow and everything is about timing and power. And in MMA, as soon as the bell rings, it's go time. You may see a flying knee like Jorge Masvidal. Or you see immediate takedowns like from Hamza Chimaev. You never know what you're going to get in MMA. It's like a bag of tricks, man. So I would say the number one thing I'd probably do, have a wider stance, try to kind of stay on the outside. I would probably only go in when I knew it was a sure thing when it came to and I'd only probably go in. I'd probably go in a few times with punches, but I would quickly either start ending or start entering in with elbows. To kind of set the pace. And when they tried to go in, I would try my best for knees, but even then someone can catch the knee and take you down. So again, elbows would be my biggest thing to rely on, because you don't see many elbows in MMA.
Yeah. I heard John Jones talking about the elbows. the
Yeah,
other day.
he said it himself.
He was talking about how he could get more power from the elbows because he's tall. And one of his claims was the shorter guys can get more power out of the punches quicker. And because he's tall, he had to use his elbows.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because so if you're shorter, then your base is closer to the ground, right? So it's like if you see someone shorter playing baseball or soccer, football, whatever you call it, they're usually able to change direction quite quickly, right? So when it comes to the punches, they're able to turn the direction and create torque quicker. Someone taller, well, their body's longer. So when they turn, they're able to turn with much more rotation. And then their elbows and arms are much longer out, so they have more swinger.
Interesting.
You know, punches are thrown, as people say, right?
Yep.
I would say with elbows are placed, not thrown. Right?
Placed.
Yeah, you don't throw an elbow, you really kind of place it. It's like a knife, and you need to cut, huh?
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. MMA definitely, certainly a different game. Anything can happen at any time.
Yeah.
In any moment. I mean, you can be winning 5 rounds and then lose the match because you got triangled. You know.
Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards.
Yeah.
Right. Kamaru was winning that whole fight the first time, and then suffered a head kick and KO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what is? You know, it's really interesting your perspective and experience in these ancient martial arts. As you know, God's martial arts celebrates these ancient traditions, and not only that, we're put on one stage.
Yeah.
And with like great cinematic production because of the production team here, the incredible production team.
You guys do a bang-up job.
So we're so well. It's not. It's you know, the guys behind the camera are phenomenal. They really are. We have the easy job. You know?
Yes.
But so we're taking these ancient martial arts traditions, and putting them all on stage, and they have to adapt to MMA rules, and we're capturing it.
Yeah.
Gods of Martial Arts is still a new promotion. You know, the 1 year will be in August. What can we expect to see with Kun Khmer, with Lethwei, with Muay Thai, with the MMA traditions and the grappling traditions out of Malaysia as well, all coming together? What can we expect to see? We've seen a little bit already, but what would you expect to see?
The way I see it going right now, because you know, in Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar, even Malaysia, fighting has always been kind of a big thing. You know, like those stadiums that have been there since the 20s and 30s, but in Vietnam, however, things like sports, and especially sports as a profession, is quite new, right? Like, if you see now, like fitness is like the in thing right now, especially like, let's say Thailand, you see people running all the time, training all the time, and you see so many gyms and so many different fighters. So I would say with GMA being in Vietnam, and with sports being new here, and all of these different cultures coming to Vietnam, it's like this is the perfect budding incubator to put Vietnam on the map, and also to promote what Vietnam has to bring to the table in all of these different respects. You know.
Yeah.
So I see you creating something big and innovative, but also I see you kind of connecting each country like slowly through each bridge of each martial art, right? So I would say that's number one, the cool thing. And number two, you putting an opportunity for people to compete on a nationwide level.
Yep.
And to get some fame as well, get their name out there, and to do something legitimate and to represent where they're from in Vietnam is really, really cool, you know? Because like right now, there's not so many fights here. So to see new fights coming up, I think needs to happen as much as possible. You know?
For sure, it's wonderful to watch it, and it's an honor to be a part of it. You know, and some of the things that I've seen so far is once a fighter knows they're going to be in GMA, going to be in an MMA fight, and maybe they've never had an MMA fight, they're adapting. Immediately they start training grappling. Immediately they start adapting to the MMA rules, right? So we've seen that. We've also seen GMA as a platform for coaches and people who represent Kun Khmer in these ancient martial arts to use this as a platform to spread Kun Khmer or Muay Thai
Exactly.
or their gym. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And I think
Exactly.
one of the better examples is, or one of the most recent examples, is Sav Min.
Yeah.
And he is so passionate about Kun Khmer, isn't he?
Yeah, man, because like, especially for him being Khmer and everything, you know, Kun Khmer during like the Khmer Rouge and stuff was not allowed to be done. Same as like, what is it, Parlat Sarai, these, and Bokator. These sports were kind of like banned and taken away during like the Khmer Rouge, you know. So to be able to still have it and it being preserved the way it is, I know it means a lot to him, and he's done a lot for the Kun Khmer community in Cambodia, you know. And so for him to bridge the two, or to bring it here and showcase it with finesse and like showmanship, I think it's a beautiful thing, man. Everyone wants to represent what their country has to bring, you know.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I think it's quite cool, and it's about time that people started differentiating between Muay Thai and like Kun Khmer, because there is a bit of a difference in terms of the weapons, in terms of how they fight, and in terms of the overall energy. So I'm glad that conversation is back in.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I have one last question about Muay Thai and Kun Khmer, if you don't mind.
Yes.
You know, what is there any form of a clinch in Kun Khmer?
Yeah.
Yeah?
They clinch to elbow. They clinch to set up their elbows. In Muay Thai, you'll see that, but most times they will clinch to really set up the knees. So like where elbows will cut a face open, knees drag the body down. Right. So I would say in Kun Khmer they'll clinch, but you're gonna see that elbow coming pretty soon. You know.
Okay.
And Muay Thai, usually they will clinch, but you'll see a knee, a sweep, or like a holding of a position, kind of to show I'm better than the other person.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we're toward the end of the show today. What? It goes by fast. It goes by fast when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, very fast.
And I think we've learned a lot about ancient traditions. At least I have in our conversation. What are some of the things that you've seen that we haven't discussed, maybe I haven't asked about it, that you've seen in Vietnam MMA, martial arts, and where it's going?
Man, the talent here is like growing, and the people are hungry. Like I would say the talent for all combat sports is growing and changing at the same rate as Saigon itself. Like you're here for when you're first here, and then 6 months later, the area that you're in is completely different. The buildings are taller, the roads are nicer. It's like everything's changing so fast. And it's the same with combat sports, you know, especially Muay Thai. Before, you would see people fight much more of like a faster kind of kickboxing pace, especially when they fought like national tournament, and when you see like in SEA Games. And now you see people doing Muay Thai, and they have much more of a Thai style to them. That kind of slow, powerful kind of thing. Seeing them combine and mix the two, though, is like, it's very cool, because you have dynamic speed and then you have slow precision, right, or timing and precision, combining it to make like a very deadly weapon. So I think that it's time for sure. You already have a few guys, Hun Chun Dunyet, Pham Vo, you have Tuan from SSC. You got a few guys already that are starting to like make their name and make their way. I think now they take the speed, and the strength from the background they already know and start applying and learning like the clinch. And I think Vietnam will definitely be like a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it'd be interesting for you to come watch.
Yeah, I would love to
come watch
at GMA.
Yes. Yeah, man.
I would love to.
And for the next couple events, it could be right here.
That sounds like a plan, because that seat up there has my name on it. That's for sure. I'm right over there.
Yeah, we've got a couple events coming up. Our next event on the 28th of June.
Okay.
That's going to be this is the Vietnam side of the bracket. So we're in an international tournament series, 2025 international tournament series. So half of the bracket is Vietnam, and the other half is international, and then they meet in the international finals. So whoever wins among the countries of Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia, and Myanmar, in each weight class, they will win the national title, right, on August 2nd, which is our next international event, which is going to be incredible, by the way. And then the winner of that will face the Vietnam champion. Right?
So it's like SEA Games. It's like another chance at SEA Games, more or less.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's a tournament. It's a tournament structure, as opposed to, which is different than the UFC.
Fight. Yeah.
Because, like, can I get a title fight? You know, I mean, there's so many things that are up to the promoters, right? Where this is a tournament.
Yeah. Tournament changes the aspect completely because after you got one fight, you may have two more other fights or one more other fight. Or you could get lucky and get the bye, meaning that you go and you just fight. After everyone's done fighting, you just have that one fight and you could win the whole thing. It definitely adds some chaos to it, but in a good way, right?
But what I think you'll really appreciate is our August 2nd event. And we have on like the 55 kilograms, we've got 2 Myanmar guys going at it.
Oh, wow.
All of the other weight classes, you've either got a Kun Khmer versus Muay Thai or a striking sport versus a grappler or something like that. It's a very nice mix. And you're really going to be able to see these ancient martial arts come together or go against one another on this stage right here.
Wow.
And this is like the first, it's almost like the beginnings of UFC, right?
Yeah.
Where you're seeing all these different martial arts, right?
Yeah.
But it was more like boxing versus wrestling, you know, jiu-jitsu versus karate, things like that. Whereas here we have Kun Khmer versus Muay Thai. We have grappling versus left weight, in a sense.
Yeah.
Right? And this is the beginning. And all these gyms are adapting.
Yeah.
They're adapting and they're going to the grappling gyms and things like that. So I think that this is a very unique opportunity to see
For sure.
ancient martial arts for the
Yeah.
first. Sometimes some of these guys is their MMA debut here at Gods of Martial Arts.
Wow.
They've had 120 Kun Khmer fights, but this is their first MMA fight. Or they've had 80 Lethwei fights, but jumping in, you know, let's see what I can do in MMA.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting when you're talking to these guys, you know, in the beginning, you know, they're so unsure of themselves. You know, like, I'm not an MMA fighter though, but then they're like, you know what? Well, I'm a fighter. Okay. Well, if I can use anything, what do I do? Okay. And we see this transition in the way that they think, in the way that they're minding. We get to see the results here.
Man.
Here, and it is an absolute beautiful thing. It's amazing, and I would love for you to see it. Because you have all this experience. You have all this experience and you can see it.
Question.
Yes.
When you're watching GMA, you see these guys fight. What is it that the strikers are lacking? And what is it that the grapplers are lacking when they're fighting each other?
I think in this part of the world, if we look at UFC, right, the striking and grappling are pretty close.
Yes.
Pretty close.
Yes.
This part of the world, the striking is much higher. And grappling is kind of slowly coming up.
Okay.
Right. For that reason, you see, even if there's a really good striker and they get in trouble in grappling, sometimes the match is over with.
Yeah.
So overall, I think there's a lack of grappling throughout Southeast Asia.
Okay.
Right. But you also see some guys, because the biggest look at the different countries that offer these martial arts.
Yeah.
You have Myanmar, where they don't have a lot of promotions.
Yeah.
And they don't really have a lot of opportunities to compete, and they don't really have a true stage.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you look at Indonesia, where you've got the Canggu Fight Nights, and you've got Bali MMA, and you've got things like that. Then you've got a huge amateur MMA scene in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Right? Now there's a lot of guys coming up. Gary Cho, who's going to be fighting Saigon 2 fights later today, is actually an up-and-coming rising star in the amateur MMA in Malaysia. I think he's like 10-1 or 11-1 or something. But you can get a lot of experience there, whereas you can't get a lot of MMA experience in
these other countries. That's for
Myanmar,
sure. Because no one will pay to see it. That's true. Yeah.
Right. So, but what you often see is some wrestlers and grapplers, they rely too much on the takedown. They're just trying to get past. They're just trying to get past. They just don't get knocked out and get a takedown. So they can be one-dimensional. They can be. These wrestlers can be one-dimensional, right? So I think we're starting to see, and there's very few fighters, Z, that we've seen who've truly embraced both grappling and striking here in Southeast Asia at the professional level. We're talking about like upper professional level, right? So I think that's what we're going to see, and I think we're going to see a strong jump. Like everyone is adapting now, and GMA is a big part of this, becoming the epicenter of MMA in Southeast Asia, and an epicenter of a community that's growing together that brings all of these coaches together.
Yes.
You know, we're not competing against. I mean, we're competing, but we're all growing the martial arts together as almost like a family of countries, and we're building it. So I think that grapplers need to learn how to strike.
Okay.
You know, like myself, right?
No,
I mean, I definitely need to learn how to.
You can cut a little bit.
But you know, good coaches like you is what I need, because it helps me understand it. It helps me understand the relationship between what I already know and what I need to learn, right? So what I think we're going to see is all of these countries who've been doing the ancient martial arts for so long, they're going to start adapting to MMA, and we're going to see a lot of progress and a lot of innovation. Because GMA represents, from what I see, a giant step in innovation of mixed martial arts in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, because you only have like Lion Championship, I think, and Lion Championship and SFF. I think that's the most for MMA or any kind of promotion here.
And there's also other promotions throughout Southeast Asia.
Exactly.
Like Canggu Fight Nights and stuff like that.
True. But I feel like GMA is the only one that's having. Well, it's the only one that's backed by Johnny Tuina. But also,
I mean, others might be backed by it, but Johnny is the director.
True.
Here, and which brings a cinematic aspect to it.
Yeah, and I would say that cinematic aspect creates, for like a place like this that seems like I'm like in Mortal Kombat or like Underground Fight, that really gives it a cool feel. Like seeing the ring just like in these old school ropes.
Yeah.
It's like intimidating, but really, really cool. But I'll say that you said, you know, fighters can be one-dimensional. Honestly speaking, I feel like most fighters, it's not that they're one-dimensional, it's that they get caught in one plan.
Okay.
You know, it's like maybe they know how to do 5 things, but once they see that one thing is working, they just stick with it. You know, I think a good example of this is Takeru versus Super Leg.
Okay.
At one point, Super Leg, he got hit really hard, and he was down like this, head down, and the whole time Takeru was just punching his head, trying to knock him out. I mean, he threw maybe 10, 12 punches, and in my mind, I'm like, why don't you just knee? His head is like right there, just one knee, and the fight's over, man. But sometimes people just get so caught up in what is working because it starts to become familiar.
Yeah.
Right? So then they become afraid to stray away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for the strikers, when it comes to the grappling, I feel like most of them are probably going to focus on takedown defense.
Okay.
When really, yeah, they should be focusing this. I understand, focus takedown defense. You train your grappling in order to strike another day. But eventually, they're going to need to have to learn at least how to have, you know, a few submissions, right?
Yes.
Even if, because you never, like with grappling, it's a completely different story. First you have wrestling. That's like being with a bear, and then you have BJJ. That's like being with a cobra. You know, you got 2 animals to tame, and all you know is striking. You better learn something. You know, you better learn something. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome, man. Z, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For coming on the show. Folks, that wraps up episode 8 of Beyond the Fight here at Gods of Martial Arts. We have a few events coming up. The next event is the Vietnam fighters on the 28th of June. It's going to be in 2 weeks. It's on Saturday. And the next event after that is going to be on the 2nd of August. It's going to be the international semifinals here at the GMA Arena. Looking forward to seeing you there. Hopefully Z will come here and we'll get a fresh perspective on these ancient martial arts coming together. So we'll see you there. See you in 2 weeks at our next event on the 28th of June. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.
Thank you. See you.